process of how is it that you ended up in San Antonio and then decided to, you know what, I'm not going to retire, I'm going to give it another run. Just talk about that.
Yeah, the league, the USL is an interesting league, and being a goalkeeper is a very interesting position. There's only 2 to 3 on a team, but one can only start and play. You can't go and play as a left back or a center mid. And so when teams have their keepers, they have their keepers. And as I went on loan in 2021 here, after playing for Indy 11 just for the playoffs, fell in love with the stadium, with the fans and with the people and at the organization, and was like, wow, I really want to come back. And to be fair, it took a while for them to call. And so all the way from November 2021 to beginning to middle January, I had no team that was reaching out to sign me. Indy 11 denied my option, and I was kind of just waiting to hear calls. Was getting pretty much nothing. Had some coaching opportunities pop up, and there is like, maybe it's time to start transitioning. Maybe it's time to, maybe God's saying, hey, it's time to move on, and you've done well, and time to just go to the next chapter. And January hits, and SAFC calls, and kind of the rest is history. But at the end of the day, I went into a situation I didn't even know I was going to be starting, or if I was a second stringer, or what was going to happen, and ended up being the second stringer. Christian Bonilla, a great goalkeeper, and he ended up retiring after 3 games, and then ended up losing 2-0 to start against Phoenix, but played really well, and the team started kind of getting on a winning streak and ended up getting player of the month that first month, and then just rolled on after that. And the team, like the defensive tactics and understanding the willingness to not allow goals for a full year, proved dividends for not only myself but Mitch, and then the whole team winning a championship. So it was kind of a wild last year and a half, and now I have a baby. Just bought a house in San Antonio, and so couldn't be happier, couldn't be more excited to start the season.
At some point, you know, Bonilla leaves. Cardona was such a fan favorite.
Of course.
And it's you getting that starting position. At some point, did you just stop and think, like, it wasn't that long ago, I didn't even know I was going to be back out here again as a player. Then you come out here and you win Player of the Month.
Yeah, I think people say God's plan. I think there was a plan all along, and it's so hard when you're in it. It's like when things are kind of not going your way, it's like, wow, this feels like it's going to last for eternity. But really, life is so it's short, it's long, it's different how it works out, and so in those hard times, it was like, wow, when is this going to end? And then when the good times come, I feel like it went so fast, and it's continuing to feel like it's going by so quickly. But with Cardoni and with Bonilla, it was a really strong core. And then them leaving, and it's like myself, and then we bring in Grant as a second stringer, kind of midway through the season. It was kind of a wild transition period. But like I said, it seemed like there's plan, like there's fate the entire season, that we were just meant to win, and I feel like that's continuing on even through our new preseason.
What was it like for you to win Goalkeeper here? Because again, almost not going to be out here again, and then you come out here and have such a stellar season, and then to walk away with, you know, again, best goalkeeper in the USL.
Yeah, it was something that I didn't even set, like, it's not something you think about at the beginning of the year. It's something that you always want to achieve when you're thinking about professional careers. You want to achieve something like that. But really, when I got the first start against Phoenix 4 games in, it's just about performing well and like helping the team. And you kind of just put your head down and work and just rely on others and try to do your job really well. And things just turned out. When I was announced, I was surprised, over the moon, excited, and it also kind of drew out a hunger of like, wow, I want to do that again, and I want to help the team the best I can, and if that is at that capacity of Goalkeeper of the Year again, so be it. But winning that was accumulation of a ton of patience, I'd say, a ton of patience, a ton of grit, resilience, and then also a lot of just faith that things are going to work out, stepping through the right doors at the right times, and the doors opening at the right time. My wife had to deal with a lot of difficult times. Again, people see the result on the field. People see from the stadium, on TV, kind of what we're doing on game time, but people aren't able to really see your journey and the mental toll, the emotional, physical things that happen off the field and kind of during the week and in the off season. And to have something actually that you can kind of hold and be like, wow, this is what we did, this is what we achieved. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. But at the end of the day, it is an accomplishment, and it's something that means something for that last year, but it's a fresh start, blank slate. And so trying to move on from that is going to be a challenge, but it's one that we're all ready for as champions and as some personal accolades from some of the guys.
What was it like? At what point in the match, the last game of the season, that like, this is ours, we're champions? I mean, what was it like, being out on that pitch and to walk away when the whistle blew? That you helped bring a championship to the city, to this organization.
Yeah, third goal, Sam Adeniran. I think it was like 65th minute, and it was like, wow, we're winning 3-0. I'd made one save, pretty big save at the very beginning of the second half. Once I made that save, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in it. Like, I feel really like ready to go. You kind of need a save as a goalkeeper to really be like, okay, I'm in the game with the rest of my team. It's a lonely position at times. And then when Sam scored in the 65th minute, kind of looking up at the crowd, being like, what the heck? I've never won a championship at this, not only at this level, but like in college. We've won, conference championships, but we're talking about nationally, best of the best. And to win something like that, and then to have on the field, I went straight to the bunker, where it's all like the Crocketeers, all the diehard San Antonio FC fans that have been here since the beginning. I just ran and jumped into the crowd, and then Kevin Bass, our media coordinator, was running around trying to grab me, and like people were running on the field. My brothers were getting tackled by security because they didn't have their darn wristbands. It was wild. It was so fun. SAFC did such a good job. The organization did such a good job to kind of captivate and cultivate an environment to really, really celebrate an amazing championship like this. I think the city was just desiring and itching for a championship. So that collective release as the final whistle blew was really something. It's something that you want to feel over and over again, but the beauty of it is that you don't get to feel it often. Some people never get to feel it. And so to get something like that is a dream come true. But we want more. We definitely want more, and we believe that there's even bigger things to come.
What do you think what was it like I know the championships have to be the top thing, but what do you think was second? Was it beating Austin, an MLS team? Because that was a huge night too. Yeah. So what would be your number two thing that you would put like right after the championship?
I think the birth of my child. No, yeah, it was while she was born in October. But as a team, Evie's my championship as well. But as a team, I'd say for sure Austin. If you ask Tim Holt, our CEO, I think he probably relished in that win more than the championship because of, again, the history between the MLS bid and San Antonio FC and how a lot of people felt hard done by when MLS was granted to Austin FC and SAFC was kind of left in the USL. And ever since then, it feels like we've been kind of little brother. And so to come here and have a packed crowd, Austin brought their fans. They started their big guns. They rotated big players into the match to try to beat us as well. And to have a win like that, and it was one of my favorite games to play in. I think I was very involved in that match, which normally in these games I'm not because our team plays so well that I hardly touch the ball. And not that we didn't play well, but man, it's an MLS opponent. And an MLS team that's not just a normal MLS team either. They're Austin FC. They were at the top of the league at that point. And like I said, traveling all their big players. And so for us, it was a huge moment. And hopefully we get more of those. But that is something, again, top 2 out of last year as far as moments go. So that's something we're really proud of as well.
You talk about huge moments in that game. Talk about that double save, you stop it, and you just put that. I remember someone said it, I think it was Mitch last year, said that hand of God came and saved the second shot attempt towards the end of the game. Talk about that moment. Were you surprised too that you just put that hand up and stop that second one?
Well, the whole game is, as an athlete, you get moments where it's like you're just kind of doing, you can do all the preparation you want, but once you step on the field, everything's new. That's why I love the game of soccer, and that's why I love goalkeeping. You can't you can rely on past experiences, but if you only think about those things, every sequence is new. And so that last sequence, I remember Garcia makes a block, and the ball is bouncing in the 6, and I just have to go and basically starfish, close out with all my limbs on top of another player to make a save. He lands on my leg, and I'm in a position where I'm facing the bouncing ball on top of the 6, where it's just a cluster of people, and I see an Austin player going to basically have a free volley. What people don't know is actually Roman Holt, Tim Holt's son, was right in the mix and actually gets a bump on the player who kicks the ball that eventually I save. Without that bump and that pressure, I do think he puts it into a different part of the goal. But since he feels the pressure, he kicks it just right down the middle, and essentially I just I'm sitting like I am now, and the ball, I think it hits my bicep, and I just close down, and it just ends up in my hands. And that's, again, I feel like I can always I can always match life up with soccer, but sometimes life, things are just meant to be, and it's not about really forcing something, but it's at the end of the day walking into it, being prepared, and then moments like this just they happen because of what you've done in the past, and I believe that you've been set up for an opportunity like that, and I feel like God really did just let me hold on to the ball, and then moments later the whistle blew, and it was such an incredible celebration. Different than the championship, where it's we kind of knew when you're winning 3-0 in the 65th minute, 70th minute, 75th minute, it's you feel like you have it a little bit. But in that moment, we didn't know we were going to have it until that very last kick of the game. And so that was a very specific and new feeling. But yeah, it was really cool.
Speaking of the feeling, you got this great season going. You guys are favored to win, and then you welcome the birth of a child.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because there's not a lot of nights you get a lot of great sleep once you got a kid at home and you have to take care of. And as a new parent,
yeah,
you're constantly worried. So talk about what that was like for you and your wife.
Do you have kids?
I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
I have 2 daughters. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. First daughter for me. Her name's Evie Jean. She was born October 11th in 2022. That was right before our last home game. And we were on the edge of winning most shutouts in league history, most points in league history, most wins in league history. And so it was massive amounts of pressure. She was born on a Tuesday morning, late at night, or late in the morning, or early in the morning. And my wife is the only reason I was able to operate. Let's just put it that way. We had some really good communication prior, and it was really difficult and hard and amazing and wonderful all at the same time. But you're right, the lack of sleep was an intense part of it all. Nico and Connor are about to experience that very same thing. Nico's baby's going to be born in the next week, I believe. And just kind of prepping him for what that's going to look like, because it was sleepless nights. I mean, babies wake up, they need a lot from you, and you don't get much back, especially in the first first 2 months. They're really just total survival mode, where they're reliant on you completely, and you're not getting smiles, not getting giggles, you're getting blank stares, and I want food, sleep, comfort, and security. And so as a man, that's difficult. That's really difficult. You want fruits of your labor, right? And there's it's a thankless job. The baby ain't thanking you. And learning how that, it's you realize, man, I'm quite selfish, actually. And so I had to learn that about myself. And my wife is showing me so much grace, because we're both new parents, but she always seems like she's just more prepared for stuff. And it's been an absolute journey thus far. She's about to be 5 months, Evie Jean. And I actually haven't seen them for a month and a half. As I've been looking for a house to live here in San Antonio, they've been back in Oregon. Waiting for a house to be finished, and it just got finished up this last week, and so I'm seeing them tonight for the first time in a month and a half. So I am elated. So it's funny, I'm about to get emotional because I haven't seen them for so long, and they grow so quickly. So yeah, so exciting. This last year was outrageous. Championship, beating Austin FC at home, having a baby, now buying a house, winning Goalkeeper of the Year. It seems like it's going to be difficult to top, but it's not really about that. It's about just experiencing the newness of life as it comes and putting one foot in front of the other. So I'm excited for what's to come.
What do you do with so many accomplishments in 1 year? Do you make a big old plaque to put in your new home of all of these moments?
Yeah.
What do you do? Because there may not be very many people in the world that had a great stellar year like you just had.
Yeah.
And it started with not knowing you were even going to be on a team.
I think you just praise God. I think for me, it's about understanding that this isn't even. I mean, I can do as much as I can to prep, but like, I think at the end of the day, like, it's just reliance on Jesus for me, and like it's just continuing to praise Him and what He's done for my family. Because ultimately, it's not my own strength. I really do believe that, because I can do so much, but there's things that happen that it's just out of our control, the good and the bad. And so when you do have a good year, you just continue to just praise. And if it's a bad year to come, you continue to praise, because at the end of the day, like, life is short and living in the moment is so important. And so after a huge year, it is something that you recognize, you appreciate, and you love, and you remember those times to get you through the difficult times if there are difficult times to come. But it's also not to dwell on it too much. As a goalie, we're constantly preached to be like not too high and low. And I think there's a lot of truth to that in life as well, when you do have amazing accomplishments, which is great, but it's also like, how can you stay steady and consistent? And that's going to be a very healthy thing to practice for me as a soccer player, but also as a husband and as a father too. Because now it's like Evie doesn't really even know any of that happens. So I can sit there and be like, here's my plaque. She's, 5 months old. She's going to look at me just as dad and, hey, can I get this? I need comfort. I need security. I need love from you. And so that's also a beautiful thing too. When you come home and it's like, she doesn't care about any of that. I mean, she might one day, but right now all she needs is me, and she doesn't know if I failed or succeeded at practice or at games. And so holding her and just seeing the pureness of who she was created to be, it's like, whoa, this puts it all in perspective. And so that to me is the biggest prize, and that's kind of what culminates all the accolades for me.
There's a few more questions.
Yeah.
As an obvious leader on this team, it's been discussed about you as being bringing the team together with games. And gaming together. Just talk about
games. Yeah,
actual games.
Like Switch, like Mario.
Yeah. Talk about that and the bonding that you guys do together on the road, and be able to just honestly just sit down and just be a team and be guys and just play video games.
It's so important. It's so important because we are under immense pressure, and on away trips specifically, it's all about the game. It's all about performing in the game, which is really good. It's important to get your mind right. But at the end of the day, what's helped me is on Friday nights, if a game's Saturday, so we'll just say on Friday nights, it helps to take minds off the game, because I've been thinking about the game leading up the entire time. And then I will be thinking about the game all day Saturday. And so there's moments where it's like, it's important for us to really like be guys, be friends, and have that kind of environment to where we get to just be ourselves and live in the moment. And that's culminated in Mario Super Strikers, or Mario Super Smash Brothers, which is a Switch game, and it's something we put on our projector in our team meal room. And it started off with just me and a couple guys, two or three other guys playing for like an hour on a Friday night after dinner, and it's now again like it's multiplied into full-on 4v4 like Mario Super Striker matches that we like spend like 2 hours playing, and some of our staff members get involved, and it's actually been like such a fun time. And it's really a testament to how close the bonds are on this team. Again, college environments, high school environments, we've all been in like sports teams. It's really easy to experience that bonding because you're kind of going through the same parts of life. Like you're growing up together, you have math class together, this professor, that professor, what'd you do today? But in professional environments, it's way different. And the teams I've been on in the past have been way different. You don't get that closeness, that bond. And I really believe that bond was maybe a good example of the bond was Mario Super Strikers on Friday nights, but it really was like celebrating people's birthday together, celebrating the gender reveal of my child. That was incredible. Like the whole team came and like supported us for that. Celebrating just all sorts of things outside of soccer together and being with one another through the good and the hard times. That I think is really what gels and creates a foundation of success that then is produced on the field. And listen, I'm a pretty talented Mario Super Strikers player, but when we play Smash Bros, other players do a lot better than me. For instance, we had a player last year, Elliot Collier, who just destroyed people on Smash Brothers. But on Strikers, I was a top player. And I know there's been a lot of talk about anything else, and I want to set the record straight here. I am the best Strikers player in the state of Texas, and I would love for anybody to come. I'm just kidding. But no, it's something that really was special, and I can't wait to continue to do it this year. We have some new guys who are going to bring some new tools to the table on Strikers, and so it should be interesting.
No, I'm sorry, didn't we hear that he has to on the short game in golf?
Oh gosh.
That's what I heard.
I'm not really an avid golfer. Justin Dillon is the one who said it, and I didn't even know if that was true before, but I know you guys talked to him. He's my roommate on the road. Justin Dillon plays golf like every day in the off season. All right? I play golf like 6-7 times a year, and honestly, my short game is one of the best parts of my game.
That's not what we heard.
That's I would say driving off the tee. I struggle because I just want to hit the crap out of the ball, so it always hooks, slices. But that's give me another chance, Justin. Let me prove you wrong. Pay for a few rounds, and we'll see who's really good at the short game.
Is Coach Marcina joining you guys in the games?
Actually, that's funny. So at the beginning, you could tell he was kind of like, I don't know if I like this. Like night before the game, want guys kind of getting to bed. It's not like we're staying up late, but we're getting done around 9:30, 10, and some people have routines, and we kind of all had similar routines. That's why we played it. And so Coach was I could see he's kind of skeptical, like we're really into it. And by the end of the year, he was like, guys, make sure you have time after dinner. We have the projector set up, the screen's ready, like everything should be good for you guys at Smash Brothers. Like fantastic. And like Dario, our assistant coach, was like always watching a little bit, seeing who's going to be the best that night. So it turned into a little bit of a, it's not kind of like a superstition, honestly. Is that what it'd be like before the game, like the rabbit's foot or whatever? Yeah. So it's like, you could say, Coach is kind of like that sometimes. It's all about routine. And so that was one of our routines in away trips. And Coach really let us have that time because I think he saw the fruits of the camaraderie that it built as well. And it's interesting, during dinner time, normally people are, eat, maybe chat with their friends and leave. This team, and I'm not just hyping up SAFC, but like this team, like guys would be at the dinner table for like an hour after this dinner was cleaned up, getting to know one another, talking to one another, trying to understand where each other's come from. Not ever in life will you get people from Ghana, from England, from South America, from, across the United States, all in one place. And so I think each guy really took advantage of it and tried to learn about one another's background. And then that just filtered into the gaming after dinner as well. So there's a lot of things that happened off the field that I believe led to our success in the building of that foundation of camaraderie and respect between one another.